Hey y'all. Okay, here's the deal. Sometimes when you have a YouTube channel, you just get an idea for a video and then you just film that video without thinking too hard about it. And that's what we're doing today. The idea I had was to take all of my blushes and put them all on my face. I'm not necessarily gonna put them all on my cheeks. I'm just gonna try to apply every single one of my blushes to my face. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad that you clicked on this video. My name is Hannah and I'm a passionate lover of beautiful things. I love beauty. I really enjoy makeup, but I try not to buy too much makeup and I try not to promote overconsumption of beautiful things here on my channel. I feel like you can love beautiful things, really love them without spending too much and without buying too much. If that sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. I'm starting with a little bit of makeup on my face. I had some redness to neutralize. I had some blemishes to cover. I primed my eyelids because I'm expecting that I am gonna have to put some of this product on my eyelids. I'm gonna have to put it everywhere because I have way more blush than I have face for. So I put some eyelid primer on my lids in anticipation of that. I stuck my brows into place with soap and I put a little bit of mascara on. I'm going to be working around it, I'm sure, but I decided I wanted to do this video with mascara on rather than putting it on at the end. And I also don't really have a plan. Let's look at the blushes. I decided only to select the blushes that are blushes, like they are blushes. So I have a couple of bronzers, just one or two that I use kind of as blush products, but if it's marketed as a bronzer, I saved myself from it. I didn't put it in here. And I also didn't include highlighting products that have some color and that I sometimes use as a blush. I did, though, include all of the lip and cheek products that I own, like cream lip and cheek products, because my blush collection is made up, probably the majority of it is that kind of thing. I have a lot of this kind of thing, like cream products that are multi-use, and I use one of them as my blush probably most of the time. I think I use those products on my cheeks more frequently than I use my powder blushes. So I felt like I needed to include them. I don't have very many, if any, really face palettes, but I didn't include palettes either. I think that maybe the only palette, I decided to use that to include the e.l.f. Active Lip and Cheek palette because these are some of my most used blushes. So I guess I did include a palette, but it's so little. I'm thinking of like those massive things where there's like a whole bunch of different blushes. I don't have anything like that. So it's mostly just single individual items. I'm gonna count them really quickly. Okay, so I have 7 powder blushes, 7 individual compacts of powder blush. Technically there's an 8th because this Patrick Ta blush has both a powder and a cream, and I intend to use them both. The other palette that I have, the other compact that has more than one blush in it is this one. There are 3 of these 4 in the e.l.f. Active Lip and Cheek are blushes. I have 4 of what I would consider liquid blushes. I think that the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush and the Glossier Cloud Paint are more like creams in a tube, but you know, because of the way that they squeeze out of these little tubes instead of being like in a compact, I kind of consider them liquids. And then I have 2 of the M Cosmetics Color Drop Serum Blushes, so 4 liquids. The biggest area of my collection by far is the last one, which is just cream cheeks. Yeah, there are 10 of them, and this includes multi-sticks and compacts of product that can be used on the lips and cheeks, and then some of these are just straight up cream cheeks. And I feel like we do need to start with the creams and liquids. I sometimes will do a little bit of trying to layer like a liquid over a powder. I mean, it's a makeup rule, right? You're not supposed to put a liquid on top of a powder or a cream on top of a powder. And I understand why, because if you put like a thick layer of powder foundation on and then you try to put like a cream concealer on top and mix it together, it will turn into sort of like a gunky, cakey mess. That's the premise of that rule, but it's not like you can never successfully manage to work with a cream on top of a powder. You just have to be really careful with it. So I might do that in the later stages of this project, this attempt at a thing that I'm doing. I don't want to put a bunch of powder on my face and then still have cream and liquid blushes left over that I haven't used yet. So let's start with the creams and liquids. And maybe another good strategy would be to start kind of with the lighter shades, and then I can build to more drama. I kind of want to, I don't know what to do. ooh, I just had this idea and then I sat down and started doing it. Am I gonna try to like look okay, or am I planning to just wash my face right after this? Let's start with, I'm gonna try to look, I'm really gonna like try to do it. But the total number of little items here, there are 23 individual pieces of makeup and 26 different actual products that I'm, so I'm gonna be putting 26 products on my face, which it's like a lot of blushes, but it's not necessarily a lot of products. Like I've done makeup looks before where I've probably used 26 things. Like when I go to list everything I use in the description box, 26, it's like maybe a little bit of a lot for me, but it's not like 100. You know what I mean? It's not 100. We can do this, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna start with a little bit of Glossier Cloud Paint on my eyelids, like a wash on my lids, because I know that this sets down on the lids. It behaves pretty well on the lids. This is Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Dusk. That looks nice. I wish I could kind of just stop there. Like for me, for today, I feel like that's great. That's all I need. But unfortunately, I have 25 more products to go. Okay, here's another kind of light product, light in terms of color. It's also kind of light in terms of the fact that I feel like you can really work it into the skin and leave it as a base. It's the Jillian Dempsey Cheek Tint in the shade Petal. So I'm gonna put a really light wash of this, just maybe like around here, sort of like beginning a blush draping look from where my eyes are, but not all over. Oh yeah, this product really has to be warmed up with the fingers before it will do anything. I had kind of forgotten that. There we go. I just have a feeling that this is gonna get buried under a pile of product, this spot, but if I kind of like pull it out to here, out all the way out to my temple, then a little bit of this might end up showing at the end. Maybe I'm being optimistic. I'm over here blending it and making it perfect as if I don't have 24 more blushes to apply on top of it. Let's put something on the lower lash line. I feel like this Jason Wu Hot Fluff in Biscotti might work well there. This is supposed to be a multi-product. You're supposed to be able to use that on eyes, lips, and cheeks. I did try to do a full eye look with this once and it didn't work. It creased. But maybe for like just lining underneath my waterline and smudging it out a little bit, or like putting down a base for a powder product that will also go there later, this one could work. I'm gonna put it on with like a little, just little pencil brush. Yeah, totally. That's like something I would even do. All of this so far is like something I would reasonably do when doing my makeup. But I'm trying really hard not to get carried away because I have 23 more products to go. I feel like the Winky Lux Rose Blush, this Rose Sculpture blush from Winky Lux, is also one that can stand up to some layering because it ends up going on really, really thin and almost stain-like. So I'm gonna do like a little bit of a wash of this on the cheek. Okay, 22 more products to go. I am also going to put a little bit of this, the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush, because this is another one. Again, it's a pretty strong color, but I know that it sets down completely. I'll be able to layer creams and powders on top of it without disturbing it. The ones I'm really worried about are like the serum-y ones. I'm worried about putting them down and then having to layer a bunch on top of them because they stay kind of serum-y. I'm first going for the creams that I know are very sturdy. Actually, because I know that this is so sturdy, maybe what I'll do is to put it in the crease of my eye instead of on my cheeks. Yes, that is what I will do. It's in the color Flushed, which is like it's like a strawberry coral. So far, I feel like this is looking pretty dreamy, especially the eyes. Okay, I know what I can do with one of these M Cosmetics blushes. I'm just gonna put the tiniest bit on the tip of my nose. There, that was the color Pink Nectar. We're down to 20 products, y'all. And you know what? I'm gonna use the other one. I'm just gonna mix it with that one. Venetian Rose, little tiny dot of it. Yeah, a Looks a little bit like I have a cold and I'm having to stay home from school. I have no doubt that the rest of the face is going to get dramatic enough to balance that out. All right, let's put down some of these real, actual creams, like these cream cheeks. Let's put down some of the Can Make Cream Cheek, and let's go ahead and am I ready? No. I have these three that they don't apply the same, but they are really similar ideas. I think I'm going to kind of blend all three of them together. But again, I'm going to kind of keep it out in this area, like cheekbone, temple a little bit. The Can Make Cream Cheek in number 16, Kierweiss Joyful, that's the square one. And then the third one here is Peony, which is one of the Stila convertible colors. And you can see they're not exactly the same color as each other, but they're all in the same family, the Louise Poston family. I have a feeling we're going to end up with a very blushy look. I'm doing my best to diffuse it, but it's getting kind of intense. It's already getting kind of intense. I have 16 products left to apply. I really shot myself in the foot by saying that I was going to include the e.l.f. Active. They're stiff, so they don't stay super emollient throughout the day. That's one of the things I really like about this palette, but they also don't set down. They also have like body creaminess, and that's one of the things I'm the most worried about. I'm trying to think if I can do something with these that won't compromise like the layering of all of the other products on top of them. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll start building kind of like a deeper area. This is the darkest, the berry from that palette. I'm gonna start building a deeper area kind of here. And I'm gonna put the brown below it because I feel like that's sort of like bronzer territory. I'm gonna blend those out, but I'm gonna try to keep them kind of localized. I'm actually gonna blend with the little eye brush that I was using on my eyes. Yeah, it just looks, it just looks really terrible. Okay, I strategized, but I ended up just kind of blending them in and blending them away, which is fine. Here's the third, this is the third e.l.f. one. It's like the peachy one. I'm just putting it right on my cheekbone just a little bit and blending it in. They're all on there. That's what matters. Okay, that's one of the things that I was kind of the most worried about. So I got that one taken care of. And now in terms of creams, I have the one in the Patrick Ta. I have ColourPop Roosevelt. And then I have these two Lila B lip and cheek, what is this called? The Divine Duo. I have these two Lila B's. And then I have Morning Skinny, which is a Take a Layer Multi-Pot from 3CE. Really amazing color. I think I'm going to use this on the lips. And I think I'm also going to use one of the Lila B, at least one, if not both of them, on the lips, because this is a formula. I keep dropping them everywhere. The Lila B formula is one that I really enjoy on the lips. So I'm going to go ahead and apply. This is the lighter of the two. I've got Be Lovely and Be Incredible. I'm going to go ahead and apply a thin layer of Be Incredible. Oh man, these Lila B lip and cheeks, it's one of my favorite makeup products of all time. I tend to kind of forget about them because they're little and they sort of slide around in my blush and highlight drawer and sort of slip to the bottom. But this is reminding me I want to use them more. Okay, I am going to put a little bit of the other one. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the other one. I'm trying to kind of overline a little bit with it, like a little bit of a stained look. Okay, and now I'm going to put this Take a Layer Multi-Pot right in the center of the lips and blend it out like an ombre lip. We're doing an ombre lip. Man, this is another great product. I like the color and I love the formula. Weird, I feel like doing that ombre lip that's so overlined in the middle on the top has really changed the shape of my entire face. Oh, I put one in the wrong category. The Rituel de Fille Inner Glow Cream Pigment. I had stacked it with the powders, but it's actually a cream. I actually only have 6 powder blushes, but one in this, that's 7. And then I have 3 more creams left to use. Goodness gracious. Okay, the Inner Glow Cream Pigment is a really versatile product and it's got some depth. I'm actually gonna use this on my lids and I'm gonna put it in the outer corner with this little dense flat, the Rephr 02. I'm putting it there with this brush, but I think that I'm gonna be blending it out with another brush. Yeah, this is my most cool toned and my most brown blush, so this is a good use for it. I'm tempted to put it on my lower lash line too, but I have a feeling that there are gonna be plenty of powders to use for that. All right, I only have 8 products left and only, 9 products. I keep forgetting about this ColourPop one. I better just go ahead and knock it out. What should I do with it? I'm gonna use it to take the cream part of the blush draping up a little higher. I've always really loved this color. I've always really loved Roosevelt, but it's the formula, which I haven't used in a while, is really not holding its own against these other formulas. It was, I think, maybe the first cream blush that I got for myself a couple years ago when I realized that I really wanted more cream blushes. So I really loved it because I was like, yes, finally a cream blush. But now that I've tried so many, it's not really passing muster. I might declutter it. Actually, I might do it today, like after this. This might be its moment. What matters at this moment is that it's on my face and it's time for the last cream, which is the one from Patrick Ta. I feel a little bit more bold about putting this one on because, well, no, wasn't it what Patrick Ta says that you're supposed to do it the other way around with this? You're supposed to put the cream on top kind of as a highlighting. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I'll save it and like try to put it on at the end. Since I have it open, I'm gonna go in with a synthetic brush so that it doesn't pick up too much. I'm just trying to get a really loose, fluffy, soft, wispy application of this powder on part of this cheek. The kind of underneath outside. And it's actually, what I kind of feel like I'm doing here is setting, this is almost like a bronzer type color for me. I'm setting part of the cream to make it easier to layer the other powders on top. But I'm also getting some depth back there. You can see that, right? I want to sweep powders all over the place. And that's what I'm about to do. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is get some color up around here. With such a strong blush look, I would always, take some around my hairline. This is why I pinned my bangs up today. I didn't want to use cream for that because I knew these powders were coming. I'm going to start with Clinique Nude Pop and just kind of lay down a base for that. And again, I'm continuing to use this synthetic brush because my gorgeous Rephr brushes and my Tom Ford blush brush, they pick up so much product. It's great when I'm doing like blush draping with 1 or 2 products, but with all of this layering, I want to start with something a little more, yeah, you can already see the difference. I'm gonna start with something a little more washy. Yeah, but it's starting to tie it together with the rest of my face. I'm gonna use Nude Pop along the jawline too, almost like a bronzer. Like I would ordinarily use a bronzer for this. All right, my biggest concern right now, here's what I have left. Here's the powders. Well, I do have that one Patrick Ta cream that I'm gonna try to tap over top somewhere at the end. And the powders that I have left are Faded Clementine from M Cosmetics, which should be pretty easy because it's kind of washy. In fact, I'm actually gonna go ahead and do it right now, similar to what I did with the Patrick Ta powder, but up higher. It's quite glossy. This synthetic brush that I'm using, by the way, is the big fluffy brush from Alter Ego. When they first sent me their brushes, I thought I probably wouldn't keep them because I so much prefer my natural hair brushes and I use my Rephr brushes for everything. But a few of them, like this big fluffy one, have actually distinguished themselves and I've decided to keep them. They've come in pretty handy. Faded Clementine. Oh, it's so pretty. Intense. So pretty. I was saying that my main concern right now is patchiness. Like I feel like it's likely to get patchy on this side anyway because I've got all of these like covered blemishes and as I brush over them, they're starting to be revealed and there's just no way to make it look amazing right there because my skin is, pretty troubled on this side right now. But I do think that mixing all these textures and colors together, patchiness is a real concern. And, maybe it will get patchy, but that's the main thing that I'm trying to avoid right now. So here's what's left. This blush, the Chiclet Blush Duo from the first Samantha March FX Ofra collab. This is pretty pigmented. It looks less deep and rich in color, the lighter pink side, than most of my other blushes, but it does really pack a punch. I'm gonna have to be careful with it. The Blush Light in Sundown from Melt a pretty dusky color. And then my two kind of holy grail blushes, which are Mocha Havana Shimmer and Miel Glacé from Lancome. Miel Glacé is a pretty easy blush to wear. I'm actually going to, with this same fluffy brush, wash it. You know what? I'm going to use it up here. Use it on the sides of the temple and down a little bit. Yeah, it's really looking like I got some sun there. Weirdly, I feel like the part that's sitting the weirdest with me, like the weirdest part for me when I look in the mirror right now is the ombre lip. Like for some reason, it's just not sitting right. Like it's just not, it doesn't feel like it suits the whole rest of the look. Color-wise, because that red is so strong, and I'm also just not used to seeing my lips look that way. So it's kind of funny. Like I feel like the rest of my face is it's kind of like normal. All right, let's keep going. Sundown. Yeah, what I've saved for last are like the uber pigmented and deeper, because that's really more dramatic on me, the contrast between them and my skin. The uber pigmented, deeper blushes that really pack a pigment punch. So now I have to figure out how I'm gonna place them. I think that I'm gonna do some work on my eyes. Let's go ahead. I'm actually gonna go ahead and swirl this together with a small fluffy brush and use it to set and define some of what's on my lids. It looks subtle, but it is making a difference. You can see I've put it on this lid, but not on the other one. Okay, that's actually added so much definition to my lids that I feel like they're not as blended anymore with my cheeks. So I'm going to take Mocha Havana Shimmer on this fluffy brush, and I'm going to use it to blend those high spots on my kind of deep spots on my cheekbones into my eye look. It's like a little C shape. And you can see it's on this side, but not this side. So it's more blended and more draped on this side because of the way that those two things are connected. Really feel like now we're cooking with gas. I really, really love this blush, Mocha Havana Shimmer. It's one of my favorites. But the white spot underneath my eye, I feel like I actually don't want it to be as bright. Oh, and you know what I haven't done yet? I haven't done any more work on my lower lash line. So that's what I'll start with. I'm gonna use an eyeshadow brush underneath my lower lash line with Melt Sundown, and it's actually a pretty fluffy small brush. So it's gonna buff it out quite a lot. Yeah. And then I'm actually buffing it down and down and down to try to blend into some of what's on my cheeks. I'm shook. It came together more easily than I expected that it would. I'm not completely finished yet, but I feel like once we got the cream, it was putting all of the creams on that was hard. And then once we got to the powders, it was just actually a lot easier to kind of like spend powder in various places on my face. But I do want to put some mascara on my lower lash line as well, and I didn't bring it over here. I've been getting some use out of this Rimmel Lash Accelerator. It's a wispier look, and I don't always want that, but I'm realizing that sometimes on no makeup days I kind of do want it. I've actually been enjoying it. Yeah, I feel like the thing that's really causing a sense of patchiness or a sense of like weird shaping on the cheeks is that Mocha Havana Shimmer, the one that I applied in the C shape, is actually a pretty sheeny blush. It's causing intense reflection in like all different directions because of the beauty lights. And also there might be a little bit of like unblendedness going on right here. But all things considered, not bad, not bad. I'm going to apply this. The last thing that I have is the cream from the Patrick Ta. I'm actually gonna put some of it on my lips. I'm gonna try to kind of like tone down and even out the lip look. Not completely, but a little. This is kind of a glossy, balmy blush. So I feel like what I'm doing is sort of the equivalent of applying a lip gloss on top of a lipstick. I'm just tapping it over. Okay, that look is a lot more wearable to me. I feel like it's a lot more wearable. And technically I could stop there. I feel like I said I was gonna put this on my cheeks, but I don't want to. I also kind of considered putting it on my eyes, but I don't want to do that either. I'm just gonna stick with that. I've never actually worn this Patrick Ta cream as a lip product, but I actually think that it could be one. Like it's more of a multi-product than a lot of other things that claim to be lip and cheeks because of that kind of balmy, sheer quality. I think it's smart that they didn't market it that way because it was already like a powder and cream together in one compact, but I might try using it as that later. We're done. I did it. This is it. All the blushes that I own, all on my face. I feel like I could have gone much harder. I feel like I could have put that red more on my cheeks. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I could have had different neighborhoods more on my cheeks instead of kind of layering and layering. Or maybe it's just that my blushes are all kind of similar in color because I know my taste and I tend to stick to it. So even though there are sort of some different, like we know that there's one right here that's not right here, that there are three right here, whatever. We know that, but they kind of all end up looking the same and all kind of end up blending together and being extremely cohesive. Am I going to go wash my face off? Yeah, probably. I don't think I would film another video like this, and I probably don't want to go about the rest of my day like this, but it's not as completely bananas atrocious over the top as I expected it to be. It looks like an intentional dramatic or intentional editorial makeup look rather than one of those challenges where it's like, 100 layers of highlight. You know what I mean? It didn't end up looking horrendous. It just ended up looking like quite a lot. The other fun thing about this was that I feel like I got back in touch with my blushes as I went through, and I learned some things about some of my blushes as I went through. Like I learned that there's one that I want to declutter. I remembered ones that I haven't been using. That's the main reason why I recommend doing something like this at home, because you think it's just going to be a lark and it's just going to be about like what the look ends up being. What it really is about is using what you have in a new way, like it's different when you have a blush. If you're like shopping your stash, if you're like, I'm going to try to use this more and you use it just by itself as it's intended to be used. It's different than when you're forced outside of the comfort zone that you have with that particular product and you have to use it, like use it on your lips when you usually use it on your cheeks, or use it under your eyes or something like that, or blend it out on top of a whole bunch of other things. You see it come alive by using it in a new way. So that to me was actually the unexpected biggest success of this. And it was super fun. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Thank you for spending this time with me. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.